Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the News Today edition of 2nd of August, wherein we try and make all important news for the day in the most simplest format for you guys to understand. So let's look at the important news for today. United Nations Convention on Trade and Developments has released their global trade update, wherein we are discussing mobilizing trade to curb plastic pollution. Supreme Court has upheld that revenue cannot be earned at the cost of environment and ecology. 26 tech companies have signed up to European Union Commission's Artificial Intelligence Code of Practice on Generic Purpose. Himalayan clouds are carrying toxic heavy metals, a recent study has highlighted. An election commission has announced election to the office of Vice President of India 2025. We're also going to discuss the quick updates for today. So the first important news, the United Nations Convention on Global Trade has updated that again how we are going to mobilize the current international trade in order to curb plastic pollution. Again, plastic is very harmful for environment. We all are knowing about it, right? So again, we do not have any international agreement on, let's say, how we are going to curb down the plastic pollution, where again we have been on talks at international level in Geneva, where again a UN plastic treaty is about to come out, and again that is why again it is again following the ongoing discussion which has been happening with respect to UN plastic treaty which is happening in Geneva, right? So that is why very important topic for your syllabus of paper number 3, environment and ecology. Plastic is again an environmental pollutant, right? So let's look at how intensely this plastic has been peaked in its production. So in 1950, we were only producing at a global level 2 million tons of plastic, which has increased to 436 million tons of plastic. Again, you see how much volume of plastic has been producing across the globe. And again, it is just 2022 data what we have. Then in terms of plastic use, we have been majority of plastic is of single use. What is single-use plastics? For example, the wrappers or the bottles, right? So these are single-use plastics where again you use that and again you throw it away, right? And it is not getting reused again. So single-use plastic has been a major chunk with respect to the idea of plastic pollution. Then in terms of recycling of this plastic waste, only 10% of plastics are getting recycled and rest are being coming into environment, right? And approximately 75% of this plastic waste has been affecting environment and health, how they have been polluting the oceans, how they have been degrading the soil, how they have been entering into the food system. All of these are due to non-recycling of these plastics, right? Then we are also going to discuss that this plastic is not a very small issue. It is creating a triple impact on environment in terms of pollution, in terms of biodiversity loss, and in terms of climate change. Let's see how, because again, if plastic is getting entered into the ecosystem, again, the people and the biodiversity which is dependent on it is of course going to get impact. So again, it is impacting the wildlife. Now, greenhouse gases are emitted upon production of these plastics as well. So again, also leading to the idea of climate change. Now, this plastic is, again, we are discussing in the context of trade, where again UNCTAD has told that again how trade is a major factor of how plastic has been used in trade as well, right? So again, it is not just a national phenomena, it is a cross-border menace, and it is not just only creating, it is creating a very disproportionate impact across the globe, right? That is why it is very important as a topic wherein we are going to curb the plastic production in order to go for a sustainable environment in the coming future, right? Then in terms of plastic, as this report has been highlighted by UNCTAD, so it has told that approximately 78% of plastics are produced which are traded at an international level. These are used in trade, right? That is why it is no longer national issue, it is going to be a cross-border issue. And again, if we are going to curb it, it is requiring a global cooperation, and not just national policies is going to help down in terms of what we call as curbing of this plastic pollution. Then in terms of we talk about, let's say, for climate change, we have an international agreement in the name of Paris Agreement for climate change. For biodiversity loss, we have CBD, that is Convention on Biodiversity. Do we have any international agreement on plastics? No. That is where in Geneva, there is a talk which is being going on with respect to a UN treaty on plastic waste. That is why it is very important, where again now we have understood the impact which it is creating on environment, and now we are on a verge for an international agreement with respect to plastic waste management as well, right? Then in terms of untapped alternatives, all of you must have seen that again how many of industries, many let's say startups have been working towards, let's say, sustainable projects, right? So wherein yes, there are alternatives to plastics as well. We have bio-based plastics. Again, these plastics are used by natural products like sugarcane products like jute, something like that, right? And which are not completely biodegradable, but they can be recycled, right? Then there are compostable plastics as well. What are those? Again, they are also used by natural products, and they can be let's say degraded, and they are biodegradable in nature. They can break down into smaller components in the natural ecosystem, right? So these are the alternatives to plastics which have not been explored as of now, right? So these are very untapped areas which are available, which has not been maybe used to its potential, right? So unfortunately, it is just 1.5% of global plastic production, right? Which is a very good environmental alternative, has only 1.5% in terms of plastic production, right? So again, has a huge potential which has been underutilized till now, right? So in terms of trade disparities, if you talk about, the taxes or tariffs on plastic has reduced if it is such a matter of global concern and it is a pollutant. So why not the taxes have been increased so that its use can be stopped or maybe reduced? But unfortunately, the taxes on plastics has dropped from 34% to 7.2% in the last 30 years. And other alternatives which are good, which are eco-friendly, have been facing high tariffs of up to 14.4%, right? So this is where the trade has not been on a righter front when we talk about plastic use in trade, right? So trade is basically favoring plastics over greener options. So again, this is where the UNCTAD is again discussing the idea again how we are going to mobilize the trade in order to curb plastic pollution. Then in terms of what needs to be done, right? Of course, we have seen that again, it has so much impact on environment. So what are the solutions for that? So in terms of reforms, we are not going to make a uniform rule. We are going to go sector-wise. So in this, firstly, we are going to ban, number one, the single-use plastics, because of course they are used once and thrown away. So this has to be stopped, and that is why you have been seeing that again, where you nowadays, when you go for shopping to shopping malls, so there are a lot of, maybe in fact no shopping complexes have been giving, let's say, plastic bags. They are using eco-friendly paper carry bags or jute bags or cloth bags, right? And that is why you also, whenever you are going for shopping, please carry your own bag, and that should be preferably a cloth bag or something, a plastic bag. So this is how, with small conscious effort of ours, we can contribute to environment as well, right? Then for some plastics who have long life on the ecosystem, they can be reused in the construction of roads, right? And this is where research has to be done, so that again, how exactly we can use these long-term plastics in constructions of roads and various other places. Then in terms of data collection. We need to exactly know that how much plastic is produced, where it is produced, how it is used, so that again better policy can be framed in terms of stopping or in terms of reducing how exactly it is being used. Then we talk about, we are also going, because there are certain global rules. When we talk about waste control, we have Basel Convention. When we talk about chemical trade, we have Rotterdam Convention. Where again we have toxic pollutants, we have Stockholm Convention. So all of these are need to be integrated with the plastic pollution curbing as well. That has also been discussed, and these are the few reforms which has been suggested. Then we talk about, where does India stand with respect to plastic pollution? Do we have any law? Yes, do we have a law which we call as Plastic Waste Management Rules 2016, which is banning use of plastics, or again curbing the use of plastics, and there have been few amendments which has been done to it. For example, there was an amendment in 2021 which talked about, which has banned single-use plastics completely since July 2022. Right. Then in terms of 2022 amendment, there has been extended producer responsibility, where again the final liability lies on the producer who is producing the plastic, not the ones who are using it, right? That is how it could be stopped from the very source or from the very origin where again plastic is coming. Very innovative amendment to the act. Then we talk about in the recent 2024 amendment, right, where again it has been told that again how local bodies and panchayats are playing a very key important role in terms of curbing the unmanageable plastic waste. So this rule has been telling that how and what are their role with respect to this plastic waste management. I would ask you one more question. So please comment, all of you are watching this video across different cities of India. What is your city administration, where again your municipality or your panchayat, what they have been doing with respect to stopping of single-use plastics? I give you an example. Recently we have Mahakumbh, right? So again we promoted an idea of what we call as sustainable tourism, wherein there was a ban of plastic or single-use plastics in the area. There were cloth bags which were used. I have been to multiple places. For example, I have been to Ooty, right, and many places like Shillong, Meghalaya, where again there have been complete ban or use of plastic bottles. Single-use plastics have not been used. So please tell in comment, so that again others can also know that in which city and which panchayat what all steps are being taken by the government to stop this single-use plastic, right? So I would expect your comments on this particular aspect. Then do we have any international agreement with respect to plastic waste management? Yes, we have, in terms of Annex 5 of Marpol Convention, which is preventing the shipyards from dumping plastics to the sea. Right, we have Bridgeton Convent, which is promoting sustainable trade policies, including action on plastic. So these are the few global level initiatives, and at a national level what India is doing with respect to the idea of plastic pollution. Then, has there any been questions? Of course, there can be question on the body like UNCTAD. Then we are going for UN plastic treaty. So again, very important. Environment is very important topic both for prelims and mains examination. With respect to one question, let's see. So there was a question in 2023 GS paper number 3, which talks about the concept of circular economy is gaining importance in India, right? How can plastic waste management contribute to it? Right? I would expect at least give you some pointers in the comments that again, how do you see that this plastic waste management can contribute to the idea of circular economy, right? Moving on to the next topic. So recently, Supreme Court has given its observation on Himachal Pradesh green area construction ban. Right? I'll tell you the story, because once you understand the news from a story perspective, that gets retained to your memory for a longest duration of time. So this news can be interlinked to GS paper number 3, environment and ecology, and also to GS paper number 4, ethics. I'll show you one case study as well. So what was the news and what exactly is the story for this? So Himachal Pradesh, of course, have been in news due to a lot of disasters which has been hitting in that particular area, right? So recently, High Court of Himachal Pradesh has passed an order which told that again, no construction should be there on the green belt or green zone of the state. Green zone are the areas of forest and of course environment and ecology. So there has been a hotel construction group who has challenged this decision or this order of High Court that again why you have stopped us or why you have put a ban that again construction should not be done on these green belt zone. Right. So Supreme Court has taken up this case under the special leave petition. I will ask you and again please comment what do you understand by special leave petition and which constitutional article is giving Supreme Court the power of special leave petition. Please comment. Right. So Supreme Court has taken up this case under special leave petition and it has given an observation. Ki we are very late when we talk about that how exactly environment needs to be considered vis-a-vis the idea of development. And again, it is very important that again these kind of steps has to be taken because we are too late altogether, and if we do not do it now, there could be no state of Himachal Pradesh in the map of India altogether. That is how maybe strictly Supreme Court has given observation with respect to this particular issue, right? So this is where, and again they have given a message that again how economic development must not override the environmental protection. Why do you see that disasters have been happening in the state of Himachal Pradesh? And not just here, but again, generally in the Himalayan regions. Why? Number one, infrastructure push, because we have seen that again how in the warmer months on summer seasons people have been moving to these states for a relief from the heat in this particular area. So tourism has become very high in those areas, and to cater to that there has been infrastructure development, and this infrastructure development has been taking a toll on ecology, because how what we can see that again connectivity. There have been construction of 4-lane roads. So these 4-lane roads are being constructed, which are maybe constructed by cutting, by maybe tunneling, right? Tunnels are being created. So again, they are ecologically hampering those areas, right? So the construction of highways, hotels are at a very unstable slopes because of course these are hilly areas, they're unstable in nature, right? And that is how you see that how much frequent landslides have become in these areas, right? Then in terms of hydropower expansion, we have seen that how of course, due to elevation and the rivers flowing over area, they have a huge hydroelectric power potential, right? Which of course is a renewable source of energy, but again, it is again taking a toll on the ecology of the area, wherein we have seen that on certain areas where again these hydroelectric projects are being constructed, people are facing water shortage, right? And this water shortage has been leading to shrinking of rivers. And there is an example that again how Satluj river, if you go and see now, it has just reduced to just a rivulet instead of being a vast flowing river, right? Then in terms of disaster vulnerability, we have seen that again how due to these all activities, the soil of the region has weakened, right? Due to the, of course, unchecked activities which has been happening, and it has been leading to a lot of landslides incidents which has happened in Kullu this year, in Mandi this year, and in 2023 it happened in Shimla, right? So it is very important that again in the name of development, there has to be a balance which has to be maintained between development vis-a-vis the idea of environment, right? Then if we talk about what are more concerns with respect to this area and generally the Himalayan regions, right? So glacier retreat, again a concept where again how melting of glaciers has been happening. There is an example which has been showcased in this particular judgment that again how the Bara Sigri glacier has reduced its size by 2.5, approximately 2 to 2.5 kilometers. Now I'll ask you one more question. Please tell me in comments, where exactly this glacier is located in the map, right? Then in terms of legislative bottlenecks, wherein, as I discussed, municipalities has been given the task of development, right? So they have not been following the waste management rules, right? So the waste management rules what India has as a central rule or central policy has not been aligning with the municipal laws of these states, right? There has been a distinction between both of them. Then we talk about in terms of administrative gaps, we have seen that how in different parts of these states the forest guard checks post has been removed. If there is no forest guard, what would happen? There could be cutting of trees. No one is there to see them, right? And it is again leading to the idea of deforestation, which has been happening in that particular region, right? So these are few more concerns with respect to the Himalayan region, how they have been on the name of development. There has been a damage which has been doing to the environment, and which is a very grave concern of the matter. So Supreme Court has told ki it is very important that we need to balance that revenue cannot be earned at the cost of environment and ecology. Very clear, right? Why? Because it has reinforced that precautionary principle and sustainable development is very important, because we cannot wait for the entire state to cannot exist in the map of India. We have to be very precautionary. We are late on it, but again, it is right time that again we need to take certain strict steps with respect to preservation of ecology of that particular area and going with the idea of sustainable development. And it has emphasized that again we are going to see long-term vision of environment balance or ecological balance rather than the short-term idea of development, which can be achieved through infrastructure development and projects like hydropower. That has not to be seen. Long-term vision has to be there. Then in terms of, there has to be a balance with respect to ecology and development, where again it has been told that again both of them should go hand in hand. Both, ऐसा नहीं होगा कि environment के चक्कर में we are taking a toll on ecology or economy, right? Or vice versa. Then it has been told that again it is reminder for the entire Himalayan states and beyond those areas that protecting ecology today is protecting livelihoods and life for tomorrow, because we have seen that again how a huge loss of life, property damage, state reserves damage has been done with respect to disasters, which has increased its incidence in this particular region of India, right? So very important topic, and again very sensitive topic as well. So again, have they suggested any solutions? Yes. What kind of solutions? That again we need to proper monitor, and there has to be accountability mechanism with respect to how exactly we are taxing. There are green tax funds. So the amount which are being collected from this green tax fund should only be used for environmental purpose rather than diverting the funds for any other purpose. That is one thing what they have told. Then all illicit operations should be curbed with respect to illegal mining, quarrying. Then again, and again, there has solution also, because of course people are dependent on mining and quarrying. So of course they are going to lose out on their employment. So alternative livelihood options should be given by the state as well. Then we are talking about planning should be inclusive in nature. Sir, what is the meaning of inclusive here? They have told that again, whenever we are planning, let's say any project, there has to be consultation which has to be taken from geologists, ecologists, and the local people over there who have traditional knowledge of that particular area, how that area behaves, and how sensitive it is to changes which has been happening in that particular area. Then in terms of solid waste management, there has been told again, as I discussed, ki the waste rules is not aligning with the municipal rules. So there has to be local segregation, community awareness, and decentralized processing with respect to solid waste. Because nowadays, with tourism increasing in the area, we are seeing many a times on social medias and generally as well that again how plastics and again how waste are not properly processed, and how people have become so much insensitive towards this basic civic duty of that how we are going to do tourism, but again also keep in mind certain civic duty as citizen what we have in terms of proper waste disposal, right? So very important, and generally for every one of us, it is very important that again we in our daily lifestyle need to incorporate certain sustainable practices, right? So a change should start from you, right? Instead of expecting anything from anyone, you should be the one who should start the change, right? So then in terms of any question, yes, I have told, though it was a topic of environment, but again, environmental ethics is very also important topic, right? So there was a case study here. You are posted as an officer in a sensitive environmental zone. A proposal for a large hydropower project promises economic benefits and local employment, but threatens the local ecology and displaces tribal communities. What ethical issues will you consider before giving your decision? How will you balance development and environmental protection in your decision making? Sir, ये बोल रहा है कि you are as an officer, but you are writing the examination, right? How would you feel that you are an officer? Yes, because we are reading daily newspapers, we are coming across these kind of observations which are being shared by Supreme Courts, the new kind of laws which are being governance laws and policies which are coming up. So these are the things which should be guiding us, that again how exactly we should think in terms of solving these kind of case studies. Again, very beautiful example, and again for all case studies, newspapers are best source, and these kind of news are best source to guide your answers and to guide your thought process in case studies like this. Moving on to the next news. So very recently, 26 tech giant companies have signed the European Union's Artificial Intelligence Code of Practice on General Purpose AI, right? So again, artificial intelligence is a very important topic and technology which has come up, and again it can be seen as a coin having two sides, positives as well as negatives. So again, it can be interlinked to paper number 3, that is science and tech and economy per se. Let's see what exactly has happened, because artificial intelligence is there, but there is no global law with respect to how we are going to regulate this artificial intelligence. So again, European Union has been proposing, and it has told again they as a union are coming up with a law, which is of course going to come in the next 2 years, that again how exactly they as a union are going to control artificial intelligence and what kind of regulations they are going to make. So now they have recently put forward a code of practice, and many companies have, not by compulsion, voluntarily they have signed for such kind of an agreement, right? So companies like Amazon, Google, Microsoft, IBM are the companies under these 26 companies who have signed this AI code of practice, right? Which has been given by European Union's Commission, right? And it is a step towards compliance with the coming up, जो मैंने बताया कि एक European Union is coming up with an AI Act, right? So again, it is in compliance with that particular act. What exactly is this code of practice? ये बोलता है कि the entire artificial intelligence has to be guided by 3 basic things. Number 1, there has to be transparency with respect to how about AI models is going to work. We need to have a very clear communication with respect to this, because again, it is a very emerging technology which has a manifold powers and potential. So clear communication is very important, that how and why we are using that and how exactly we are going to use them. In terms of copyright issues, because we have seen there are, as there is no law, of course, there are no copyright issues. Again, there has been copyright issue that again, which will prevent misuse of any copyrighted material by artificial intelligence. And lastly, of course, with respect to safety and security, that again, it is minimizing risks like biases which are being done with AI, disinformation and harm which it has as a potential. Then what exactly is this European Union AI Act, which this union has been coming forward? They are telling that again, ये भी law अभी आया नहीं है. It is going to come up in the next 2 years. What exactly is this law all about? How they are going to regulate artificial intelligence in coming future? They have told that again, we are going to track down AI based on its risk. So again, it is going to be a risk-based framework where again, high risk artificial intelligence things will have strict regulation, and who have less risk will not get regulated. So again, it is going to be a graded, let's say, regulation, where again high risk will be having stricter regulation, low risk will be having less stricter regulation. Then responsibilities has been very clearly put forward with respect to AI developers and users, right? So it is again, if anything happens, it is going to be the responsibility of the developers and the users. Then in terms of any kind of penalties which is going to be put forward with respect to any of breakage of this law, it is very high. It is going to be approximately 7% of the global turnover of that particular company, and it is also aiming to become the global AI standard, because it is only one union which has come forward with a law which could again put forward as a role example with respect to how other countries or unions or organizations are going to come up with their own artificial intelligence regulation law, right? Then where does, and again, if I talk about, has, as I discussed, only 26 companies has signed. So there are a lot of industries and companies which are also telling that again, no, it is not right. Example, Meta has not signed this particular agreement or this voluntarily code of practice, stating that the code might be going beyond the AI Act, what it requires. For example, the voluntary issues what we have discussed, right? They're also telling that it is also going to create a lot of legal confusion and too much paperwork by signing this code of practice on general purpose use of AI. And it has also been telling that AI is something very new. People are coming with, every day there has been new discoveries which have been coming up with artificial intelligence. So again, with this kind of law, European Union companies, or as a country, as a union, they are going to become less competitive in the fast moving AI world. Where does India stand? Does India has any law with respect to AI? No, sir. So India does not has any law which is going to regulate artificial intelligence. We are focusing more on the good use and how exactly in different areas we are going to integrate artificial intelligence. Tell me in comments that how in governance, how in agriculture, how in space. Few examples where again we are integrating artificial intelligence, right? So India AI mission is there, of course, which is focusing on promoting AI innovation and ensuring that AI is skilled, safe, and trustworthy. So India ka focus ye hai. India is not making any regulations as of now. We are focusing more on how we are going to use the potential benefits of artificial intelligence technology, right? And the strategy, of course, is encouraging development before any heavy regulation. हमारा stand ये है इस perspective में. So just a comparative. With European Union, we have a code, we have an act. For India, we are promoting artificial intelligence with AI, India AI mission. We have a code in EU, right, where again, and the act is going to be binding in the next 2 years, right? India does not has any binding AI law, right? The focus with respect to European Union is safe use of AI, how we are going to cater the risk which are associated with these AIs. India is focusing more on innovation first and trust building with respect to the use of artificial intelligence in different sectors of economy, right? Any question? Yes. So again, this has been a area where again UPSC has been asking questions many a times. In 2023, discuss the ethical concerns associated with the use of artificial intelligence in various fields. We can mention that as well. In 2022, discuss the contribution of artificial intelligence in addressing challenges faced by agriculture and health sectors. That is why I asked you to tell me in comments. Again, in different areas of economy, let's say education, we talk about healthcare, we talk about agriculture, we talk about climate change, we talk about industries, how AI is getting implemented. Just one example, please tell me in comments. Moving on to the next news. So, Himalayan clouds carrying toxic heavy metals has been recently discovered by a study which has been done by Bose Institute, which is there in Kolkata under the Department of Science and Technology, which has funded that particular study. Again, very important for GS paper number 2, environment. Till now, we have been enjoying nature. We have been enjoying rain. Children's, whenever there's a very hot day and in summers, once rain used to happen, we used to enjoy rains. But now what has come up with the study that again, these rains are also having heavy metal particles, which is harmful for us. Right. So let's see what exactly study has highlighted. So sometimes there are low clouds, right? So new study has, of course, shattered this viewpoint that again that mountains are clean, rains are completely clean and from completely coming down from nature. They're very natural, right? So at a very low level, because clouds are, of course, in terms of gradation, they're there. So the low level clouds are what has been observed that again in the eastern Himalayan region and in the western Ghat regions, these low level clouds have been carrying what we call as toxic heavy metals, right? That this study has highlighted. Then in terms of what exactly and how they have formed, that again these toxic heavy metals has been floating in clouds even in the non-rainy clouds, right? So what kind of metals are being found, right? Number one, cadmium, which is often found in batteries, toxic even in small amounts. We talk about copper hai, zinc hai, which are common industrial waste. Chromium, very dangerous in terms of it is carcinogenic in nature, especially in dissolved form. Of course, with rain and chromium, very dangerous, right? So, and where has it been worse? Again, as I discussed, primarily majority of these clouds carrying heavy metals has been found in the eastern Himalayan region and in the western Ghat region, right? So the level of toxic metals has been 40 to 60% higher in these areas as compared to other areas, right? Now, why is it dangerous? What kind of impact or health risks are associated with this clouds carrying heavy metals, right? So of course, I discussed certain the harmful impact of these kind of heavy metals, what they have. Children face 30% of higher risk because children does not have a well-developed immune system, right? So with this exposure of heavy metals, they have a high risk of health hazard associated with their health. Then again, as I discussed, chromium, very dangerous, right? And it is increasing the chances of cancer and other diseases, which this study has highlighted. And these metals can enter into our body system. Why? Because through rain, of course, entering the food chain through drinking water, right? And even inhalation, when the clouds are getting descended, we go in that area, we inhale that air in the cloud, right? That is how it is entering into the human body, right? And very harmful for us. Then in terms of from where this pollution has been coming, if we're talking about it is there in Himalayan region, which is considered as a nature. And again, if we go to Himalayas and in mountain region, we are seeing and considering that again, we are in the bed of nature, right? In the lap of nature. But again, now the study has highlighted ki wahan bhi there are, let's say, harmful chemicals and harmful metals like this. So what exactly are there? Because the primary cause which has been there with respect to the vehicular emission. People in the foothills of those Himalayan regions, there has been vehicular pollution, which is one source of these low-level clouds having heavy metals. Then industries in the nearby areas, and these pollutants travel upwards and they get absorbed into clouds due to the process of what this process is called, convection, right? Then in terms of what are heavy metals, we have discussed many times. These are like zinc, lead, copper, cadmium, right? And they have very high atomic weight, high density, which is heavier than most of the materials. They are naturally found in Earth's crust, but they become dangerous when they're released in larger amounts through mining, smelting, and industrial waste leakage. Very important. These are a few properties of heavy metals which could be asked also in your prelims examination, right? Then in terms of what exactly is India doing about it, right? So we have national mission for sustaining the Himalayan ecosystem, which is studying the environment of Himalayas and how exactly to protect it. We have Secure Himalayan Project, which is a global project for wildlife protection and preventing environmental crimes, funded by Global Environment Facility. ऐसी questions आएंगे आपके prelims examination में, right? What about the initiatives, who is given the funding, what is the purpose, right? So this is the favorite areas where again UPSC is asked questions in prelims examination from the topic of environment, right? We have Himalayan State Regional Council, which is set up by Niti Aayog to coordinate efforts across different Himalayan states. Okay, very important steps by Indian government, which could be a potential questions for your prelims examination. Then the next and very important, of course, all of us know that again the Vice President of India has resigned. So of course the vacancy has to be fulfilled immediately, that the Constitution says. So Election Commission has announced the date for the election of Vice President of India. Very important. That again for paper number 2, polity and governance, right? So as a body and constitutional post, it is very important to know, because if something is in news, we have seen that again that topic become important for examination. And there have been many a times where again we have seen that again when these kind of themes of polity come up in the news, they get reflected in the form of questions either in prelims or in mains examination, right? So Vice President, very important topic. So basic constitutional provisions, that again he has a term of 5 years according to Article 67. Then two types, because this is very important, that again he has resigned. So how exactly Vice President can be can take out or can be moved from his office, right? So either he can resign, that we call as voluntary resignation, by giving it to whom? The President of India under Article 67 subclause A. Then he can be removed as well. Again, very important, President is impeached. There is no impeachment word used for the removal of Vice President. The Constitution says that again he can be removed, right, by of course parliamentary process in the legislature. Now again under Article 67 clause B, I would like you to tell me what kind of majority is required for the removal of Vice President of India. Is it absolute? Is it effective majority? Please tell me in comments. And if okay, let's say it is effective majority, what do you understand by effective majority? That you tell me in comment section, right? Then again, as he has resigned, the Constitution says under Article 68 subclause 2, again as soon as possible we need to conduct elections, right? So under Article 66 clause 1, of course elections is going to happen, which is happening by which method? It is an indirect election, not direct elections. We and you as people of the country, citizens of the country, are not electing the Vice President. We have elected the representatives, and these representatives are electing the President. So of course the election is not direct, election is indirect via the representatives to whom we have elected, right? So again it is happening through what we call as proportional representation by single transferable vote system under a secret ballot, right? And it is being done by Election Commission of India under Article 324, who supervises the election under the President and Vice President Election Act of 1952, which is empowering the Election Commission of India to conduct the elections of President and Vice President. Now these kind of acts are very important because the nature of your questions which has been changed by UPSC down the line, they have been asking more act and more law-based questions with respect to prelims examination, what we have seen this year also. Then in terms of who is eligible to vote, so again the electoral college, kisko bolte hain? Who all are going to vote for the election of Vice President is basically called as electoral college, which consists of all elected and nominated members of Lok Sabha as well as Rajya Sabha, right? Both elected as well as nominated. Yahan aata hai confusion, where again UPSC asks such a kind of questions and you get confused. So again, please be very clear ki in which constitutional post only elected members can vote, in which election process both elected and nominated members can vote, right? So again, the current strength, of course, of this electoral college is 782, right? And the voting system is every secret ballot mein hai, every person is given one ballot, right? And MPs mark their preference, that again who is going to be the first preference, right? And first preference marking is mandatory because of course the vote will become null and void if you're not marking it. With respect to nomination, kaise hoga, right? So the nomination requires that again 20 proposers and 20 seconders are there who will propose the name of the sorry, for the idea of election of vice president, the name, right? And again the person has to deposit 15,000 rupees, and it is held under the supervision. Who is the returning officer in case of vice president election? That is the Secretary General of Rajya Sabha, very important for prelims examination, and he is observer which is appointed by Election Commission of India. Very important points for your prelims examination. Then in terms of what are the safeguards with respect to selection process, then no party whip is allowed. That is, what is party whip? Again, party whip is an informal or a convention which has been developed in the parliamentary system. The constitution never mentions, has not mentioned about the whip. The rules of the house has no mention of whip. It is just a convention which has come forward that again every political party is appointing a whip, which is a position, and that person has to make sure that again all party members are going to abide by the rules. They are going to observe basic directions which has been given by political party in case of voting in the bills which are being proposed by them, right? So in the election process of vice president, there is no whip. No one can tell any MP that who you are going to choose as a vice president of India, right? Then special pens, again very minute details, but again this is where UPSC has been asking questions. Election Commission of India gives special pens which is to be used only for marking their choice in the ballot paper, right? And every vote has to be secretly casted, and no one can tell after maybe casting their vote that whom they have given the vote. And if anyone is found disclosing the name of the person he or she has elected or maybe given the vote, the entire ballot is getting invalid, right? And then in case of any bribery or undue influence can lead to disqualification of the person who is getting elected under the 1952 Act, right? So basic safeguards with respect to this. Now lastly, who can become the Vice President of India? What is the qualification? Number one, you have to be an Indian citizen, must be of 35 years old, and again you must be qualified for election as a member of Council of States, right? These are the three basic requirements you need to have in order to get elected as the Vice President of India. Now, Vice President also acts as the ex officio chairman of Rajya Sabha. What is the meaning of ex officio here? By the virtue of holding that office, right, he automatically becomes the chairman of Rajya Sabha. So by just becoming Vice President, he automatically becomes the chairman of Rajya Sabha. That is the meaning of ex officio chairmanship, right? Now we come to an end. Now we'll quickly move towards the quick updates for today. So United Nations India Global Capacity Building Initiative has been there, and again it has been there since September 2023. What exactly is this? Because we have seen many now news today discussions that again how India has been doing very well with an idea of achieving these sustainable development goal targets. So under this initiative, right, India is again taking a big brother attitude that again we have done something good, right? We know that how exactly we are tackling the problems associated with the developmental process, and again how we are going to achieve these sustainable development targets. So what all best practices, what we have learned in our journey towards this sustainable development, we are going to give it for the better future and better attainment of these goals by the global South countries. That has been a basic idea where again United Nations has collaborated with India. Simple and clear, right? So under this, Government of India and United Nations have collaborated. It was done in September 23. wherein India is going to share the best practices with respect to sustainable development with Global South, that is Asia, Africa, and Caribbean. So again, new projects have been launched. That is why this topic is in news, right? So basic, what we have discussed, and again, it has been implemented under the UN India SDG Country Fund, right? And it is also coming under Indian Technical and Economic Cooperation Program. Very important, can be a question in your prelims examination. The next news, new UPI, okay, of you must be knowing, all of we, us are very much dependent on the UPI transactions, and it has made our task easier. And again, I'm assuming many of us don't carry even wallets, because with phone, with a click of, with scanning of thing, we can are going to make payments. That is why with this intensity and how the volume of transactions has been increased under the UPI transactions, we have come up with new rules. So these rules are going to be implemented from August 1st, that is yesterday, right? So basically, again, developed by NPCI, right? And again, it is applicable, these new amendments are applicable to all UPI based payments, starting from Google Pay, Phone Pay, Paytm, anything, right? And there has been stricter rules with respect to how you can check your balance with this UPI apps. Auto payment, which can be set up many times. There's an auto payment system where again you need not to pay manually every time, it is automatically deducted from your account through these UPI based apps. Then how exactly we are going to access this bank details, all of these were also already there, but again the rules to track, to maybe to use them, has been made little bit stricter in order to ensure safety and security in that financial transaction. So the new feature includes users can now view all bank accounts linked to their mobile numbers via these UPI apps. Again, in terms of security and transparency and user control, this is very important. And again, very important amendment with respect to the financial risk and fraud which has been happening in the financial domain. The next news, Investor Education Protection Fund Authority. So very important that again, many times we have seen that again, how you have bought a share many a times, you do not have the documents and now you cannot claim. Many times we fail to collect dividends of certain shares, and again, we because of the hassle in terms of or the paperwork which are getting involved, we do not claim it. Right? This is where this initiative by government has been helping all such users to claim their dividends, share deposits, and debentures by this particular initiative, that is Investor Education Protection Fund Authority, which was established under in the 2016 under the Companies Act 2023 under Ministry of Corporate Affairs. So again, basically, it is educating investors that how safely, securely you are going to invest, making you understand the risk and opportunities associated with investment, what you're doing. It is helping to claim refunds who are unclaimed with respect to dividends, shares, and deposits. It is promoting, of course, investor awareness and financial literacy and protecting investor interest. The new update hai, there is an integrated portal which has been created, right? So one platform for entire thing, which is simplifying the claim process for investors and companies. Few important initiatives by this particular authority: Niveshak Didi, which is women-led financial literacy; Niveshak Panchayat, rural investor awareness; Niveshak Shivi, that is on-ground investor camps, which has been making investors aware and making them financially literate. The next important news, India Post Payments Bank. Again, all of us must be knowing, again, very important topic for a chapter of banking and economics. So recently, what new update has been done, that again, in order to more enhance and secure the transactions in this post payment banks, Aadhaar-based face recognition is also being enabled in order to access these post bank accounts. As simple as that. Yahi ek naya update hai isme, right? So again, this whole post payment banks was launched in the year 2018 under Department of Post, Ministry of Communications, owned by 100% by government. It is an idea of doorstep banking using India's vast postal network, because post offices are everywhere, ट्रेडिशनल, जब तक फोन्स नहीं थे, emails नहीं थे, how do we used to write letters. So again, India had a very good network and a strong network of post offices. This has been integrated with the banking system, which is post office bank, right? So the new initiative is what? That Aadhaar based face authentication can be done, right? And it is enabling facial recognition based transaction, and there is no need for fingerprints or OTPs. With face recognition you can transact through your accounts, right? And it is again promoting the idea of inclusive, secure and faster banking system. The next news, Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi, PM Kisan, has been in news. Again, very important scheme of government. So recently government has given the 20th installment by the Prime Minister. That is why this is again in news. So important scheme, launched in 2009. Central sector scheme, very important. Tell me the difference between central sector scheme and centrally sponsored scheme in the comments. Again, coming under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare, and objective is to what? To provide income support to land holding farmer families who have they have farmland. What kind of scheme and what kind of benefit it is there? Every farmer family will get 6,000 rupees per year, and it is getting paid in 3 installments of 2,000 each, and it is done through direct benefit transfer. मतलब पैसे आपके account में direct आएंगे, no middleman involved over here. What exactly, who are excluded from this particular scheme? Any institutional landholders. As an institution, if you're holding a land, you're not eligible for this particular scheme. If you are a former or present holders of constitutional post, अगर आप MP, MLA हैं और आपके पास land holding है, you're not eligible. If you are a government employee and you're holding a land, you're not eligible. If you are a professional like doctor, engineers, lawyers, right? Because all of these are professions who do not require any kind of support by the government. You are in a better financial position, right? So these are the basic information with respect to this particular scheme. Very important. Why? Scheme launched in 19, but again it comes back in news. So any scheme which comes back in news becomes important for you for the examination. Then Center of Excellence has been given to these few IITs and institutions, which has been recognized by Ministry of Mines under the National Critical Minerals policy of the government, right? So we have discussed what exactly are these critical minerals. Critical minerals are those minerals which are used for in the energy sector with respect to solar panel construction, wind turbines, electric vehicles and batteries, right? So this national critical minerals mission basically ensures the availability and processing of these minerals for India's future needs. So we have given that again, few of these institutions, that is 7 institutions which has been recognized by Ministry of Mines, that again they need to be collaborated for research and development in this critical minerals area, and it is going to operate through hub and spoke model. So all of these institutions, IIT Bombay, Hyderabad, IIT ISM Dhanbad, IIT Roorkee, CSIR IIMT Bhubaneswar, CSIR NML Jamshedpur, NFTDC Hyderabad, all of these has been coming on the list of centers of excellence under the National Critical Mineral Mission of the government. Then lastly, land races. Again, land races, what are those? Again, these are traditional seed varieties. Many times what we have seen that again how with the growing incidence of chemical based use in agriculture, seeds have also have lost their natural capacity, and genetically they have been modified many times. But there are some seeds which has been preserved through generations. अब किसी के ग्रैंड पेरेंट उन्होंने कुछ सीड है, कुछ प्लांट्स है जो प्रिजर्व करके रखा हुआ है, एंड इट हैज बीन गेटिंग कैरी फॉरवर्ड through generations and generations. So these kind of seeds are basically called as land races, right? So these are basically traditional seed varieties. So why they are very important? Because these kind of seeds are climate and very genetically diverse crop varieties, and they have been evolved but through traditional farming and through natural selection, no artificial interference in this, and they have been passed down through generations and generations. They have benefit in terms of these kind of seeds are very important because they're climate resilient. They have stability in terms of yield, they have pest tolerance, they have nutritional richness, they have suited to local agroclimatic conditions. And then why it is very important, because we have seen that again with these chemical based seeds which are there, it is degrading what we call as this traditional variety of seeds, that is land races, right? So the genetic erosion is happening due to modern farming practices, chemical use, land use changes which has been happening. So the government of Odisha has launched an initiative where again a roadmap to integrate land races seeds into the formal seed system, and the aim is to conserve the diversity and ensure seed access to the farmers with the potential benefits what it has with respect to all of these key traits, right? Again, alpine musk deer is in news because there has been some mismanagement where again the Central Zoo Authority has misidentified this alpine musk deer as a Himalayan musk deer in its conservative methods with respect to its alpine deer, right? So generally, again, leave it. So why it is important? Because we are reading a lot of species in our environment chapter, but again few species which comes in news becomes important for your examination, right? So if alpine musk deer is in news, you need to know about these basic facts, because are the areas in which UPSC asks questions. What is their habitat? What kind of unique features do they have? They live in an altitude of this. They are found in India, Nepal, Bhutan, and China. They live in alpine meadows and sublands and coniferous forest area. They have unique features like they are very solitary, they are very shy, अलग से रहते हैं, अकेले रहना पसंद करते हैं, they are herbivorous, they are no antlers but as fangs, they do not have gallbladder, they have gestation period of 180 to 200 days. The major threat is because they are poached for musk pod. आपने musk perfume में नाम सुना होगा ना? So these are used in perfumes and traditional medicines, right? And in terms of its conservation status under IUCN, it has been given as an endangered status, and under Wildlife Protection Act of 1972, it has been kept in Schedule 1. So again, जब भी आप ये कुछ भी species के बारे में पढ़ें, so please Google it and see its picture. That is how through picture it will get imprinted in your subconscious memory, and that is how you can retain these kind of news for a longer period of time. The last news for today, 71st National Film Awards of 2023 has been awarded. So basic facts, क्यों important है कि आज के देख लो कि how UPSC has been asking questions around his awards areas also. So we need to refer them as well. So it was an award which started in the year 1954 presented by President of India, and again the objective is to recognize excellence in Indian cinema and cultural contribution again in a part of Indian art and culture, right? So winners, of course, the best film is 12th Fail. Anyone who has not watched this movie, I would request, if you are writing this examination, preparing for this examination of UPSC, please watch this film. Again, very motivational. That is how you are going to keep up the motivation and keep the fire burning within you to become an officer, right? And few other actors and actresses, short film, best feature film, all of those, just have a quick view on them, because maybe there could be a question on that in examination as well, right? So with this, we come to an end of discussion for today's news today. So all important prelims based questions which could be framed from the topics what we have discussed, what you are going to read in the news today material will be popping up in your screen. Now we have understood, we have read everything. Now it is your time to solve questions and get confident by that again, I have not just read, I have also solved questions, and that will give you a sense of completeness with respect to the news today topics and discussions what you have seen and discussed. Right. Lastly, Vision Eyes has come up with a digital current affairs platform, which is a one-stop solution for entire current affairs issue in the examination. So please go and explore this website, which is of course certainly going to help you down with respect to your current affairs in this examination preparation journey. Lastly, have a good night and all the very best.